It was almost midnight when the dog began barking again and again, louder each time. People thought he was just hungry. But what no one knew was that he'd just found something that would change the entire town. Rusty, the brown stray dog, wanders alone on a quiet rainy street at night. Streetlights flicker as puddles reflect his shadow. Rusty sniffs around trash cans, ears perked, sensing something unusual. His bark pierces the silence. The townspeople ignore him. Rusty runs toward the main road, barking loudly, trying to get someone to follow. A taxi driver slows down, annoyed by Rusty in the middle of the street. He yells at the dog, thinking it's just stray noise. Rusty doesn't move. Instead, he dashes toward the alley behind the old bakery, looking back as if telling the driver to follow. Curious and slightly worried, the driver finally steps out and cautiously follows Rusty into the alley. Behind a dumpster, Rusty stops and stares. Something is there, something tiny, wrapped in a thin towel. The driver approaches and sees a newborn baby, shivering and weak. Rusty stands guard beside the child. The driver quickly calls emergency services while Rusty barks softly, refusing to leave the baby's side. Paramedics arrive and carefully take the baby, wrapping her in blankets. Rusty whines and tries to jump into the ambulance. The baby, later named Hope, is rushed to the hospital. Rusty watches from the alley, tail wagging but unable to follow. The driver explains what happened to the hospital staff, emphasizing the dog's heroic persistence that saved the child. At Riverside General, doctors work quickly to stabilize the newborn. Her tiny breaths are shaky but steady. News spreads across the town, a stray dog saved a baby from the trash. People begin sharing Rusty's hero story online. Meanwhile, Rusty disappears into the night, limping and soaked, returning to his life on the streets. Volunteers start searching for Rusty, putting up posters asking if anyone has seen the heroic dog. Days pass with no sign of him. Locals tell stories of his loyalty and persistence in helping the baby. Finally, a young girl named Mia spots Rusty under a bridge, shivering and hungry. She gently approaches him. Rusty wags his tail weakly, recognizing someone who wants to help. Mia calls her parents to rescue him. Rusty is taken to a shelter, cleaned, fed, and treated for his old wounds. The town begins donating supplies to the shelter in support of Rusty, now known as the Guardian Angel Dog. Weeks later, Hope, the baby, is healthy and ready to go home. The hospital arranges a meeting with Rusty. Rusty sees the baby wrapped in a blanket and gently rests his head beside her, protective as always. The parents and hospital staff are amazed at the bond between Rusty and Hope, capturing the moment on video. Months pass. The story spreads nationally. Rusty becomes a local celebrity and an inspiration to the community. The taxi driver who initially followed Rusty shares his emotional story. He lost his daughter years ago and feels Rusty guided him to save Hope. Rusty is officially adopted by the driver's family, creating a forever home for the heroic stray. Rusty continues visiting Hope, maintaining the protective bond that started on that rainy night. The community celebrates Rusty's heroism, sharing his story as an example of courage, loyalty, and love. Heroes don't always wear uniforms or have voices, sometimes they walk on four legs and bark at midnight.
Nobody expected him to care. A stray dog wandering the streets stumbled upon a terrified little cat, trapped in the rain. What happened next changed both their lives forever. In a quiet town, under a gray, rainy sky, a stray dog named Max wandered the empty streets. Life hadn't been easy for him, and yet, he carried on. One evening, Max heard a faint, desperate meow coming from an alley. There, huddled in a cardboard box, shivering, was a tiny kitten, barely alive from hunger and cold. Max approached cautiously. He nudged and pawed at the box, but the kitten hissed and arched its back. Most animals would have walked away, but Max stayed for hours. Through the pouring rain, Max sat beside the kitten, keeping it warm with his body, never letting it feel alone. Finally, as night fell and the rain eased, Max guided the kitten out of the alley, step by step, to a nearby porch with food. The kitten finally ate. Max stayed by its side, and that night, Luna learned what hope felt like. Weeks passed, Luna grew stronger, playful, and healthy. Max had found not only a friend, but a reason to keep going. Max didn't have much, yet he gave everything: protection, warmth, and hope. The story of Max and Luna reminds us that even the smallest acts of kindness can change a life forever. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Real Rescue Stories TV for more heartwarming rescue stories. See you in the next adventure.